Hi, my name is Emily Kish, and this is my Prompt 1 for the University of West Georgia's Masters of Education program for my portfolio. So in this video, I will address different content standards that I am teaching in my classroom. I will also define differentiation and pedagogical content knowledge, as well as provide examples of each that I teach within the two standards. And to show my teaching strategies, I will explain 3 different instructional approaches that are used in my classroom daily. So my first standard is a math standard, and it is for students to be able to fluently add and subtract within 5. And then my ELA standard focuses on phonemes, which are sounds in words, and specifically in kindergarten right now, we are focusing on 3 phoneme words, such as consonant, vowel, consonant. And within these standards, I address what students will learn. So for the math standard, students will be able to master this standard by fluently adding and subtracting within 5 using many different strategies. And these strategies include using manipulatives, number lines, 5 frames, and number bonds. And then what teachers should know to be able to accurately teach this standard using pedagogical content knowledge is understanding specifically the language that is used to teach math and addition and subtraction, and being consistent in using these terms, as well as being able to provide students with many different strategies in completing addition and subtraction problems within 5. For my ELA standard, students will master the standard by demonstrating thorough understanding of phonemes in spoken words and syllables while studying 3 phoneme words. And while achieving this level of mastery, students will participate in small group centers that focus on beginning and ending sounds, short medial vowel sounds, and rhymes in CVC words. And for my pedagogical content knowledge of this standard, I have to be able to fluently explain different strategies of segmenting these sounds, as well as blending them together to read the short CVC words. So while refamiliarizing myself with differentiation, because truly as an educator we know how to differentiate, but understanding a true definition, it made me realize that it is so big and so important in the classroom. So I found this quote by Tomlinson and Imbo to be very important. Their work has been amazing, and Tomlinson especially has given so much research towards differentiation in her different books, and it was so interesting being able to read these books again. But basically, my favorite quote by her was, "Differentiation can be accurately described as classroom practice with a balanced emphasis on individual students and course content." So I think that this especially is very helpful in understanding how the importance of pedagogical content knowledge that teachers hold plays such a big role in differentiating the content that we are providing to students. I found another quote by these authors to be very impactful for myself, and it is, "In an effective differentiated classroom, there will be evidence of high quality instruction, data collection to inform instructional decisions, classroom management that is flexible, and signs of an educational setting that is positive." So while looking at myself as an educator in my kindergarten classroom, I always say that differentiation is especially important at such a young age, and students are learning at such different paces that it is my responsibility to adhere to the needs and be able to provide content and teaching strategies for my students to best learn at the rate in which they are learning. So moving on to pedagogical content knowledge, I like to explain this as the how and the what and the why of teaching. So how are teachers teaching? What do they need to know to teach it? And why are they doing it this way? So being knowledgeable on the content is the baseline of PCK, and I believe that if a teacher does not hold the language and the strategies, then they will not be able to teach accurately, and this is especially important for the standards that I chose. So from a website that I researched into PCK, I found this specific quote to be very beneficial in understanding further how pedagogical content knowledge is important in the classroom. And it's pedagogical content knowledge is a type of knowledge that is unique to teachers and is based on the manner in which teachers relate their pedagogical knowledge, what they know about teaching, to their subject matter knowledge, what they know about what they teach. So when I teach, it is very important that I know what and how I am going to teach something, and research that I do to maintain my knowledge, as well as going to professional training programs. This has highly amped up my pedagogical content knowledge. So one of the learning instructional approaches that I chose to focus on in my classroom were the use of learning centers. And the Community Training and Assistance Center in Washoe County School District, the resource that was provided, gave an example of what learning centers looks like, but when I think of learning centers, I don't necessarily think of it stick and stone as this. It explains that students are motivated by choice, exploration, and discovery, and that students learn to make decisions to cooperate and share with others and problem solve. While that is seen in my kindergarten classroom, I believe that this term is more loosely used for Montessori and the exploration through the child's decision. So this isn't necessarily how mine look. How mine look are teacher-led and strategic in planning for grouping. So I use data to inform all of my grouping decisions, and this also helps to differentiate the instruction that is being provided in my learning centers. So how are learning centers provided or supported? And while the workshop method will probably soon be gone from curriculum or classrooms all over, I think that it is still important and beneficial for young students to be able to transition from group to group and being able to work in a teacher-led small group, doing independent work using technology, and then going to another teacher-led small group. So the differentiation, again, is so drastic in this, and an author, Wasick, she explained amazingly how the implementation of small groups can truly benefit young students because they're receiving that individualized instruction that might not be promoted in a large group setting. And it really helps to adhere to the needs of these learners. Teacher observations are also way more efficient because they are able to see right in front of them how a child is performing individually, as well as with a few peers around them who might be academically on the same level. So through learning centers, again, differentiation is so heavy in this, and as a teacher, it has helped me to choose content that each group will understand how to do, whether it is with myself, my parapro, or when they are doing individual work. So my highest level group might be completing tasks that are a step above the standard onto the next standard than, say, my lowest group who is receiving outside support from EIP or ESOL. So their individual and teacher-led group work might look drastically different, but it helps to meet their needs. And while thinking about student behavior in small groups, that is very big. Expectations have to be set and revised and repeated every single day before all of my small groups. We, as a class, go over what is expected, what they will do step by step, and I also provide early finishers for my students that work really fast, so that way they are always actively learning in their small group, as well as when they're doing individual work. I also monitor student behavior through a slide that is shown on my website under my artifacts, and these slides show the students' names, what center they are going to, as well as a countdown timer for them to hold themselves accountable and make sure that they are completing their given task within the 15 minutes provided. And again, these artifacts are listed on my website, my webpage, and they include a video of what a small group looks like, as well as the different centers during my small group time, and my screenshot of my slide that is posted on my PowerPoint on the screen in my classroom. My next approach to instruction that I chose to focus on is hands-on, and while understanding hands-on, the use of manipulatives is very important to understand, and this is seen throughout math and phonics and reading all throughout my classroom. Students love being able to use their hands for motor skills, and they feel as if they're playing, and it helps them learn, and using their bodies to, I always say, get their wiggles out. So it helps them receive that physical activity while they are learning. So when thinking about how this is supported, I truly believe that hands-on learning is especially important in the younger grades. They love feeling as if they're playing, and to me it gives them more motivation to learn the content that is being taught. I even go as far as including snacks and food into my small groups, because it is a real object that sometimes they might want to add or subtract and figure out how many they have. So it has really been beneficial to see how much they learn from using hands-on manipulatives. All right, so while thinking about hands-on, differentiation through this really depends on the student's motor skills. So when I look at a student who has weaker motor skills, I tend to give them objects that are bigger that their hands will be able to manipulate easier. Whereas students that already have stronger motor skills, they will be able to manipulate using smaller objects. And so that has been very beneficial. Right here, you can kind of see that. So in this one right here, the 2 plus 3, just addition problem, these are small magnetic counters that are very tiny. Whereas over here in the number bond, we use Unifix cubes, which are much bigger. And so this is used for my students that need to strengthen their motor skills. And then these are students that already have strong motor skills. And then again, expectations are set and clearly revised daily with manipulatives. My students know that these are not actual toys, but they get to explore using them and being able to play with them productively. And my final instructional approach is modeling. Modeling is done in my classroom daily. I model in my whole group lesson. I model how to complete a worksheet. I show them my thinking process. I model in my small groups. I model behaviors daily. And this was very easy to choose when showing my standards. And modeling is supported through many reasons, and mostly this one was just a personal observation. I have really benefited from modeling in my classroom, and I will continue to model. And then differentiation is very clear in modeling. What I model to a whole group might be refined in a small group with my lower students. And then also while modeling behaviors are set.